Tonight, one policeman killed as gunmen storm Federal Government College in Benin Yaouri, Kebbi State, kidnap unconfirmed number of students and staff. Police begin combing forests to rescue abductees. The president asked troops fighting insurgency in the northeast not to give terrorists and other enemies of state a breathing space as he visits Borno State. EFCC vows to prosecute former Abia State Governor Senator Orji Uzor Kalu all over again, alongside some other former governors and politically exposed persons. And Zambia's first president, Kenneth Kaunda, dies at age 97, following his admission to a military hospital in Lusaka on Monday. Plus, business, sports, news from Abuja, and later, international news from our studio in London.
On business news tonight, International Monetary Fund affirms Nigeria's gradual economic recovery, warns against rising unemployment and inflation.
On sports news tonight, Rafa Nadal withdraws from Wimbledon and the Tokyo Olympics in a bid to prolong his career.
And from Abuja, National Economic Council special session to consider reports from the judicial panels set up across the country to investigate allegations of police brutality and other related issues.
There's been another school abduction incident, this time in Kebbi State, where an unspecified number of students were kidnapped from the Federal Government College, Benin Yaouri. A policeman is said to have been killed and a student injured during the attack. The abduction is the latest in a series of school kidnappings that have rocked the country in recent times, but the first in state since bandits and kidnappers have been terrorizing the country. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Nafiu Abubakar, says a combined team of police operatives is currently in search of the bandits.
Today, that is 17 June 2021, at about 12:20 hours, we received an information that the bandits in their large number invaded Federal Government College, Benin Yaouri, in Geski local government area of Kebbi State. Already we deployed our counter-terrorism unit to guard the school, and they had they engaged them into a gun duel. As a result, one of our policemen was shot dead, and one student sustained gun wounds. Well, actually we are yet to get the actual number of the students kidnapped, but we have about 5 teachers, that is 4 male and 1 female, who were among the students kidnapped. Already we have the unit of counter-terrorism policemen in the school, so the CP has swiftly mobilized additional police mobile men, anti-kidnapping section of the State Criminal Investigation Department, counter-terrorism units, and vigilante. Right now they are combing the forest in order to rescue the victims unhurt and arrest the perpetrators of such disturbing act.
There was also another abduction in Ogun State, where 4 Chinese nationals working on a railway project in Odeda local government area. A policeman attached to the foreign nationals was killed during the incident. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Abimbola Oyeyemi, says a police tactical unit has been deployed to track down the gunmen who carried out the act. The gunmen are said to have stormed the site of the railway project in Adeaga, Alagba, killing the police officer while struggling to abduct the Chinese workers.
They are going to the site, and unknown to them that this hoodlum has already ambushed them in that place, and on getting there, they attacked them, and unfortunately they killed the police escort that was accompanying them to that site. So they abducted 4 of the Chinese men, and we are on their trail. And I believe strongly that by the grace of God, we are going to get them. Such incidents have never happened in Ogun State, and without the state command resolving it. The Commissioner of Police, CP Edward Awolowo Ajogun, has deployed all the tactical units of the command to go after this hoodlum and ensure that the victim were rescued unhurt. So we are working assiduously to make sure that We rescue these people in conjunction with other sister security agencies, and hopefully I believe that we are going to get them.
Staying with security, suspected Boko Haram insurgents attacked Gujba community, a 30-kilometer distance from Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, this morning. Some residents told Channels Television that the attackers stormed the community in a Toyota van and drove straight to a company constructing 40 kilometers Gujba-Mutai Road, killing 2 mobile police officers, 1 Nigeria's Civil Defense Corps, before burning down the heavy-duty machines on the site. Security authorities are yet to confirm the attack, but residents told our correspondents that the attackers stayed on the scene for hours unconfronted before returning to the bush. Gujba community was last attacked in January this year, where military officials were killed in an ambush. And yet the military is recording more gains in the fight against insurgents, and the acting director of Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Benyad Onyuko, is reassuring Nigerians that the military and other security agencies will sustain the onslaught, with the latest being the killing of scores of terrorists in the northeast. Brigadier General Onyuko highlights the operational activities of the armed forces and other security agencies in the various theaters of operations between the 3rd and 16th of June 2021. He insists that there is a decrease in criminal activities in the last 2 weeks.
Within the period under focus, troops sustained the onslaught against all forms of criminalities by conducting series of operations ranging from aggressive ground operations to comprehensive air operations and exclusive maritime operations against criminal elements in their enclaves. These operations recorded attendant successes as scores of criminal elements were decimated, neutralized in their hideouts, destroyed large caches, destroyed their enclaves, and large caches of ammunition as well as other equipment were recovered. In other cases, some kidnapped victims were rescued and rusted cattle recovered, and economic saboteurs were also arrested within this period. The operations highlighted in this brief are Operations Hadin Kai, Hadarin Daji, Safe Haven, Wild Stroke, Delta Safe, and Operation Awatse, as well as non-kinetic approach in tackling the security challenges in our dear nation. Between 3rd and 16th June 2021, troops of Operation Hadin Kai conducted several raid operations and extensive airstrikes, responded to distress calls, as well as repelled and thwarted terrorist attacks. These operations were conducted concurrently in different locations in the northeast zone of the country.
Training is also very important for the military, and that is why the army is warning soldiers against any form of involvement in political matters and others considered as unpatriotic. The Acting General Officer commanding 3 Division, Brigadier General Mohammed Bello, was speaking during a training program for troops and officers of 23 Brigade Command, Yola, the Adamawa state capital.
Battle-ready gallant soldiers. These soldiers appear to be in high spirits. They are officers and troops of military formations under the 3 Division of the Nigeria Army. They are here at the headquarters of the 23 Brigade of the Nigerian Army to sharpen their war skills and fitness. The Acting General Officer commanding 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, George, joins the troops at the headquarters of the 23 Brigade, Yola, the Adamawa state capital.
Loud! Up!
He witnesses the obstacle crossing exercise by troops whose family members are also present. For the acting GOC, there's a need for training and retraining of his men in their war against insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and other security challenges.
There is no gainsaying that competitions develops the resilience required to win battles. Hence, the activity is anchored on the Chief of Army Staff vision, which is a Nigerian army that is repositioned to professionally defeat all adversaries in a joint environment.
He warns them against getting involved or being influenced by politicians.
Remain focused, professional and apolitical in the discharge of your duties. Therefore, you must resist by all means the call by some unpatriotic Nigerians for military intervention of the current political dispensation.
As a way to boost the morale of the soldiers, 6 borehole water supply and blocks of flats for 10 junior officers were commissioned.
I commissioned this block.
We've been facing a lot of issues concerning water. For instance, the whole of this place, we have just one borehole close to us, and the mess zone is only when there is light. That is when we can get water. So we're very happy that they set borehole here for us.
While he's certain of winning the war against insurgency across the country, he seeks the support of citizens and other security agencies to make it an all-encompassing victory.
In the meantime, the president has asked troops in the front line of the war against Boko Haram insurgency not to give breathing space to terrorists and criminals in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari gave the directive today while addressing the armed forces and security agencies in Operation Hadinkai at the Mai Malari cantonment in Borno State. Apart from the meeting with the military, he also inaugurated projects initiated by Governor Babagana Zulum's government.
I want to seize this opportunity to put it on record that our nation will forever be indebted to you for your patriotic commitment to the defense of our fatherland against insurgency and criminality. I therefore commend you and remember all the personnel who have paid the supreme sacrifice in ensuring that Nigeria remains an indivisible and secure entity. As I send my heartfelt condolences to the families of our fallen heroes and pray for the souls of the departed, I want to assure you that this administration will spare no effort or resources to ensure that the widows and children of our fallen heroes who paid the supreme price in defense of our beloved country are well cared for. While acknowledging your collective efforts at decimating and degrading the terrorists and reaffirming the inviolable sovereignty of our nation, I also wish to extol your steadfastness and untiring efforts in the face of the difficulties you experience in the theaters of operation. We should not allow our adversaries the opportunity of breathing space to challenge or undermine our national interests and core values. The defense and security agencies should rest assured of the federal government's unalloyed commitment to winning the battle against terror and criminality. I am particularly happy to note the increasing understanding and cooperation within the military, as well as the inter-agency cooperation in the fight against the terrorists and other criminal elements in the Northeast.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari speaking there. We also have more on the president's visit to Borno State. We'll bring you that later in the bulletin. In part 2 after the break, court rejects request by the EFCC to amend corruption charges against former NNPC Group Managing Director, Mr. Andrew Yakubu. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. One policeman killed as gunmen storm Federal Government College in Benin Yauri, Kebbi State. Kidnap unconfirmed number of students and staff. Police begin combing forests to rescue abductees. The president asked troops fighting insurgency in the northeast not to give terrorists and other enemies of state a breathing space as he visits Borno State. EFCC vows to prosecute former Abia State Governor Senator Orji Uzor Kalu all over again, alongside some other former governors and politically exposed persons. Zambia's first president, Kenneth Kaunda, dies at the age of 97 following his admission to a military hospital in Lusaka on Monday. The fight against corruption is getting intense, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it is not giving up on pursuing some high-profile cases. The chairman of the commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa, says he is also not bothered over threats to his life, and he is determined to prosecute the many pending cases under trial, including that of the former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu. He made the statement during the weekly ministerial chat at the State House, where he clarified reports accredited to him concerning the involvement of a minister in the laundering of about $37 million into real estate. He noted that he simply made reference to an old case involving former Minister of Petroleum, Diezani Madueke.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission marks his first 100 days in office in a chat with the media, making various revelations.
Last week or thereabout, we recovered over 100 million US dollars for the Nigerian Ports Authority. But the monies were paid directly into the accounts of the Nigerian Ports Authority. But through our efforts, we have recovered over 6 billion naira, over 161 million United States dollars. We have recovered over 13,000 pounds, 1,730 euros. We have recovered, I don't know whether it is Canadian dollars, 200. We have recovered francs, 374,000, and then Japanese yen of 8,430. We are determined, to continue to prosecute, no matter how long it takes, and no matter the amount of resources that is involved. Cases of Amuson is ongoing. Shema, Lawakala, Hakim, Muazu, Orji Uzor Kalu. We are going to prosecute him again all over. After 12 years of that. Etc.
The EFCC chairman is going after more, particularly those who launder through other means like real estate.
We are talking about the car dealers, the jewelry dealers, the real estate, etc., etc. I said yesterday to a media outlet that, look, if we can checkmate and curtail the problems associated with real estate, laundering of process of crime in this country is going to reduce. And it is on that thinking that we are strengthening and working on this special control unit against money laundering.
As he reveals statistics of funds recovered since January 2021, he assures that death threats issued to him is no deterrent.
I'm not aware of any chairman of EFCC that has not been threatened. Some have been shot at. You understand? So we'll continue to do it without fear or favor. The facts are there. Our conscience is clear. We don't have any malice against anybody. We are doing this thing by the book, God willing.
The EFCC boss vows to prosecute 1,502 internet fraudsters apprehended so far this year. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the minority caucus in the House of Representatives is asking the federal government not to muffle the outcry by the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa, that he has been receiving death threats in the course of his duty. In a statement by the House Minority Leader, Mr. Ndidi Elumelu, the caucus says it's disturbed by the government's silence to what it describes as a worrisome development to shield corrupt officials within its system, and will hold it responsible should any harm befall the EFCC chairman. It's asked the EFCC chairman to go public and expose the names of those threatening him, as well as issues of corruption involving such individuals. The caucus also demanded an immediate investigation into such revelation as threats on the life of the EFCC chairman cannot be glossed over. And the Federal High Court in Abuja has rejected an application by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to amend its charge in the trial of former Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Mr. Andrew Yakubu. In the ruling, presiding judge, Justice Ahmed Mohammed, held that allowing the EFCC to amend the charge was tantamount to disobeying the subsisting order made by the Court of Appeal in its judgment of the 24th of April 2020. The appellate court had ordered Mr. Yakubu to enter defense in relation to counts 3 and 4 of the 6 counts originally contained in the charge on which he was arraigned. The EFCC arraigned Mr. Yakubu March 16, 2017 on the 6-count charge relating to money laundering offences. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, the State House of Assembly, the Attorney General of the state, and 3 others to desist from taking any further steps in the alleged probe of the state chief judge, Justice Oluwatoyin Akeredolu, over a viral video made by one Oluwapelumi Fagboyegun. While delivering judgment in a suit brought by the chief judge against the state governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, and others, Justice Iyang Ekwo described the move as unconstitutional and illegal. Mr. Fagboyegun, who claimed to be a stepbrother of the Ondo State Chief Judge, had alleged that the state's Chief Judge instigated his detention for 3 years for going to their father's house. And to other stories, the controversy of the presidential directive that grazing routes across the country be reclaimed is still raging. Today, the Benue State Governor, Samuel Ortom, says there is no law establishing grazing routes in Nigeria, neither is the president empowered by the 1999 Constitution to administer land use across the country. He made the comments at the 2021 Law Week organized by the Nigerian Bar Association, Makurdi branch, with the focus Open Grazing in Nigeria, Threats to National and Food Security.
From the President's strange directive to the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and in several policy somersaults ranging from Ruga, Cattle Colony, National Livestock Transformation Plan, it is clear that the President intends to grab indigenous lands for his kinsmen, the Fulani people. And I want to advise the Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Attorney General of our country, and Shehu Gariba, who are carrying these messages, that they should please not keep quiet. Those who keep quiet in the midst of injustice, terror as we are experienced today, and lack of equity and fairness, and because they are close to the president, they should advise him.
Well, let's bring you now a report of the president's activities on his visit to Borno State today.
As the presidential jet touches down at the Air Force Base in Maiduguri a few minutes to the hour of 10 in the morning, a guard of honor welcomes President Muhammadu Buhari to Borno State. And government officials line up as the chief host, Governor Babagana Zulum, introduces them. Next, the presidential convoy moves to the Borno State University, where the president commissioned the Senate building. A very boisterous and jubilant crowd hails the president as his convoy moves across the city to the next point of call, the headquarters of the 7th Division, where he meets a joint task force of Operation Hadinkai. The president, received by service chiefs and principal officers of the theatre command, is proud of the renewed synergy amongst the armed forces. The president also promises to increase arms procurement to boost security in the region and across the country.
The defense and security agencies should rest assured of the federal government's unalloyed commitment to winning the battle against terror and criminality. I am particularly happy to note the increasing understanding and cooperation within the military, as well as the inter-agency cooperation in the fight against the terrorists and other criminal elements in the northeast.
Governor Babagana Zulum afterwards leads the president to the city center to commission projects executed by his administration in different parts of the state, including a federal government permanent shelter project for IDPs. The visit terminates at the Shehu of Borno's palace, where the president pays homage to the monarch. The governor, Zulum, thanks the federal government for the varied projects executed in the state and vows continued support for the president.
Under my distinguished leadership, under the people of Borno State, we shall continue to support you. We shall continue to provide the needed loyalty to you. Inshallah, when you are in power, even up.
With renewed support for the military and development projects being executed in the state, the people of Borno hope to quickly put insecurity behind them and embrace a new era of peace and prosperity.
When the news at 10 returns, the International Monetary Fund affirms Nigeria's gradual economic recovery, warns against rising unemployment and inflation. That's on Business News. Do join us again. And now to our Abuja studios, where Gloria Mozuke is standing by with more stories. Hello, Gloria.
Hello, Millicent. A special session of the National Economic Council will soon be convened to consider all the reports from the judicial panels set up late last year to address concerns of the Nigerian people on police brutality allegations and other related issues, consider the implementation of the reports, issues of redress and compensations. According to the Vice President's Special Advisor on Media, Mr. Laolu Akonde, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibaju, announced this at the 117th National Economic Council meeting, which was held virtually at the State House in Abuja. The meeting had in attendance federal ministers, the central bank governor, and other top government officials. Council also listened to a presentation from the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Hajiya Sadiq Farouk, on the need for more sexual assault reference centers in all the states of the Federation.
Contacted the police, the social welfare department, or civil society organizations where appropriate, and also to advise the ongoing support throughout the police investigation of these kind of people, and follow-up services, and there will also be 24-hour accessibility and referrals. The startup cost of the center was at 2.5 million monthly, which covered the cost of an average of 50 clients, including administrative costs. The center has also received support of over 6,050 survivors of sexual abuse, as well as children.
Briefed on the status of the nation's accounts as delivered by the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning.
Excess crude account balance as at the 16th of June 2021 stood at $16,850,975.92. while the stabilization account as of the 16th of June 2021 stood at 24,802,716,416 naira 22 kobo. The Development of Natural Resources account, the balance as of the 16th of June 2021 stood at 28,215,689,963 naira 31 kobo.
The Nigeria Governors Forum has been speaking on some issues of national importance, some of which include the need for them to expedite plans on the Memorandum of Action on the recent strike by members of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, and the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, PASSN. The NGF said in a statement that the virtual meeting also deliberated on efforts by the Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum to treat sexual and gender-based violence as a priority. The forum also received an update on the federal government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic from the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Mr. Boss Mustafa. He called for continued action to maintain non-pharmaceutical interventions, including the enforcement of COVID-19 guidelines in public places and government institutions. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Dolapo Osinbajo, wants strong action to be taken to end all forms of violence against women and children. Speaking at the Conference of Public Health Physicians organized by the United Nations Populations Fund in Abuja, Mrs. Osinbajo lamented the impact of gender-based violence, especially among young girls. She advocates support for victims of the menace.
Violence against children is on the rise in Nigeria, hence this multi-sectoral response to the problem.
Despite our commitment to the actualization of a violence-free society for the Nigerian child, there are still notable gaps. Of note are such challenges as non-domestication of the Child's Rights Act across the country, inefficient implementation of existing child laws in Nigeria.
The Nigeria Violence Against Children survey, led by the National Population Commission, is the first in West Africa and surveyed both males and females between the ages of 13 to 24. Some of its findings state that violence against children can be physical, emotional, and sexual. 1 in 4 girls in Nigeria has experienced sexual violence. Violence is rarely an isolated incident. Perpetrators are overwhelmingly people who the children know. Male school teachers are the most frequent perpetrators of physical violence. Children are unlikely to report violence against them, and cases of mental distress and suicide among adults are directly linked to violence against them when they were children. The Vice President admits that more work needs to be done.
Not only will children be able to report incidents of violence, but when they report, the services will be available to them as such. And we will encourage more states to establish sexual assault referral centers to ensure that survivors receive an integrated care pathway. There are currently 31 sexual assault referral centers in 17 states and Federal Capital Territory that provide free medical counseling and support services to survivors of sexual violence.
While child online protection systems, sexual referral centers, and support from government partners are crucial to ending violence against children, adopting the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and the Child's Rights Act by all states in Nigeria is most crucial. States like Niger, Imo, Ondo, Sokoto, Katsina, Zamfara, Kano, Kebbi, Borno, and Gombe are yet to pass these acts. Kayla Magwa, Channels Television News.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's over now to Teniola Shobowale for business news.
Banking so easy, so cool. For 894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Gloria. The International Monetary Fund says Nigeria's economy is starting to gradually recover from the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, but unemployment and inflation remain high. A statement by the Bretton Woods Institute today at the end of its virtual meetings with the Nigerian authorities stresses that inflation is expected to remain elevated in 2021, but likely to decelerate in the second half of the year to about 15.5%. It notes that the adoption of the NAFEX exchange rate by the central bank is encouraging and urged the Apex Bank to maintain the momentum in unifying all windows. The IMF mission also expressed concern with the resurgence of fuel subsidies while reiterating the introduction of market-based fuel pricing system. The Naira has firmed to 480 against the dollar at the Bureau de Change segment of the foreign exchange market from the 497 traded on Wednesday, and that's according to the Association of Bureau de Change Operators. This comes after the move by the central bank to increase forex allocation to banks to meet legitimate needs. In a phone interview with Channels Television today, the president of APCON, Aminu Gwadabe, credits the rebound by 11 naira on the dollar to the latest intervention by the CBN, which is expected to boost dollar liquidity at the forex market. He also mentioned that the CBN has assured that it would continue to sustain its weekly forex allocations to BDC operators. Let's check in on the stock markets. The local equities market sustains its positive momentum, ending today's trading 0.13% amid negative market turnover. Ekaite Afia has more.
Good evening and welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's another win for the bull at the equities market as the moderate rebound recorded on Wednesday happened yet again due to sustained bargain hunting by some investors. Now, at the close of today's session, the total value of listed equities climbed higher by 26 billion naira to 20,125 trillion naira, while the primary gauge of the market sentiment rose by 0.13%. Largely on the gains from some listed high-value stocks. Interestingly, sectoral performance ended with mixed sentiments across the 5 key counters of the listed equities. The banking, consumer goods, as well as the insurance sectors closed in the green. Industrial goods ended negative, while the oil and gas sector was unchanged. However, the volume of shares traded for the day was significantly lower, as 160.43 million shares changed hands for about 1.4 billion naira. And these were largely driven by the shares of Wema Bank, Mutual Benefits, and Zenith. Meanwhile, the share price of Champion Breweries is #1 out of 18 gainers, as it closed the day up by 10%. While Consolidated Hallmark ended as worst among 7 losers, with nearly 9% drop on its share price. Well, that's all for the Stock Market Report. I'm Ekaite Afia. Back to you.
And that's Business News Tonight. It's back to Millicent for the rest of the news at 10.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Taniola. And to River State, where Governor Nyesom Wike again continued his inauguration of infrastructure projects in the state, with the latest being the commissioning of 9 roads in the old GRA Port Harcourt, constructed by his administration. The road was commissioned by the chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees, Walid Jibrin. It was also a time for the governor to assure Nigerians that the PDP will return the hope they yearn for to make Nigeria better.
A day after inaugurating 2 roads in new GRA Port Harcourt, Governor Nyesom Wike is in the old GRA to inaugurate 9 streets reconstructed by his administration.
Since 2015, that you assumed office as the governor of River State, you have done tremendous projects in Port Harcourt.
He is here with the chairman of PDP's Board of Trustees as party loyalists, associates and residents defied the rains to give a warm reception. For the governor, his vision is to restore Port Harcourt to its original Garden City, even as the event presents him an opportunity to address salient national issues.
The president spoke to us the other day, and Nigerians were happy the way he spoke to them. And he told us the truth. And the truth is that, look, whether I like it or not, I have nothing again to offer Nigeria. And that was the truth. And people must agree to that. Nobody can deny that fact. No matter how Arise may have a detail and a detail and a detail. The truth of the matter is that we know that the president has told them clearly, gentlemen, as I speak to you now, I have nothing again to offer this country.
Before inaugurating the roads, the chairman of the PDP Board of Trustees applauds Governor Wike's effort in developing River State.
I want to join you in supporting the people of your state for their ability to agree with you, be with you, accept you 100%. Anybody who is from this state and is trying to go astray, I am not with him. I am with the people of this state. I assure you, I will continue to be with you.
This new addition and its lighting will no doubt beautify the old GRA, as Governor Wike hopes to restore Port Harcourt to its Garden City status.
And to entertainment, acclaimed British actor with Nigerian roots David Oyelowo has applauded the Nigerian film industry for its growth over the years. Now, the multiple award-winning actor, who only just made his directorial debut in the family fantasy movie The Waterman, told Channels Television's Entertainment News that he is impressed with the progress made by the industry and how it has provided another success route for young Nigerians outside the white-collar professions. He spoke exclusively to Channels Television's entertainment correspondent, Abidemi Dairo.
You know, what I'm really proud of with what's happening with Nollywood right now is that indisputably the production value is continuing to increase. The actors are getting more and more international recognition, quite rightly so. And as an industry, it is really growing. You know, the bridge between Nollywood and Hollywood is continuing to be built, and I'm very involved in that and want to continue to be involved in that. To be honest, you know, I think the lines have become very blurred between Nollywood and Hollywood in terms of the growth of not just Nigerian film, but fashion as well, novelists, music. You know, so I'm very, very excited about that, and I can see it really exploding over the next decade. Well, you know, one of the amazing things that's happened,
Do you know what he meant by that?
during my career, you know, when I was growing up, my parents, who are, you know, very Nigerian-minded, so to speak, their focus was always academia. You know, they had 3 sons, they wanted a lawyer, a doctor, and an engineer. Pretty classic sort of Nigerian aspirations. But I think because there's been more and more evidence of success in the arts, there is more openness from not just Nigerian youth, but their parents as well, to encourage them to go into the arts. I think when you see evidence of success, that allows you to aspire, and we have so much evidence of success now, so I think it's only going to grow, you know, in terms of Nigeria's prowess in the arts going forward.
And you can catch the full interview on our Showbiz magazine program, Entertainment News, on Channels Television at 11:30 p.m. tomorrow. Kenneth Kaunda, Zambia's founding president and liberation hero, has died at a military hospital in the capital, Lusaka, where he was being treated for pneumonia at the age of 97. As tributes pour in from across the continent, authorities have declared 21 days of mourning for the liberation hero. Well, we have Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. China has launched 3 astronauts into orbit who will begin working in the country's new space station. The three men, Nie Hei-sheng, Liu Boming and Teng Hongbo, are to spend 3 months aboard the Tianhe module. It will be China's longest crewed space mission to date and the first in nearly 5 years. The crew successfully docked with the space station just over 7 hours after the launch. The moment of contact was met with applause from Mission Control in China. The launch and subsequent mission are seen as another demonstration of China's growing confidence and capability in the space domain. In the past 6 months, the country has returned rock and soil samples to Earth from the surface of the Moon and landed a 6-wheeled robot on Mars. The US House of Representatives has overwhelmingly passed a bill making June the 19th a federal holiday, commemorating the end of legal enslavement of black Americans.
The bill is passed.
The holiday marks the day in 1865 when a Union general informed a group of enslaved people in Texas that they had been made free 2 years earlier by the Emancipation Proclamation of President Abraham Lincoln. The House approved the bill on a vote of 415 to 14. The Senate unanimously passed the bill on Tuesday. Some 500 policemen have raided the offices of pro-democracy paper Apple Daily in Hong Kong, alleging its reports breached a national security law. Police also arrested the editor-in-chief and 4 other executives at their homes, freezing millions in assets owned by 3 companies linked to the Apple Daily. The paper is owned by Jimmy Lai, who is in jail on a string of charges. Apple Daily is known to be critical of the mainland Chinese leadership. In a press briefing, police said that since 2019, the Apple Daily had published more than 30 articles calling on countries to impose sanctions on Hong Kong and China. Nepalese authorities have carried out a number of rescue operations after flash floods killed 7 people and left at least 20 missing, including 6 foreign nationals. Local media reports said the missing foreign nationals are from neighbouring China and India. The government has deployed resources to help assist in rescue and evacuation operations. Army helicopters were rescuing those trapped in marooned houses. Meanwhile, more than 200 houses have been flooded in Crimea as a result of heavy rains, and the hospital and city centre of Kerch have been left without electricity. People are being evacuated from the town as a precaution. Ethiopia's foreign ministry says they regret the African Union's decision to appoint a panel to investigate alleged human rights violations in Tigray. It said the African Union had not followed the right procedure that would allow the necessary conditions for an investigation. It's after the AU's Human Rights Commission said it is looking into allegations of rights abuses in Tigray. Ethiopia is preparing for national and regional parliamentary elections, but voting has been delayed in 110 out of 547 constituencies because of violence and logistical problems. The man portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood movie about the Rwandan genocide could face a life sentence in jail for alleged terrorism offences. Prosecutors accuse Paul Rusesabagina of directing deadly rebel attacks from abroad in recent years. The attacks were carried out by the National Liberation Front, an opposition group he was involved with while abroad. They've called for a life sentence plus 170 years in jail. He has denied the charges against him. And finally, thousands of spiders and their webs have blanketed bushland in Australia's state of Victoria after heavy rains and flooding hit the region. Webs covered road signs, tall grass and trees, while spiders moved to higher ground to escape the saturated surface and spinning giant cobwebs in order to shelter themselves from the damp. Experts say the veils are created by a survival tactic known as ballooning, while spiders throw out silk to climb to higher ground. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. The Nigeria Football Federation and Reckitt Benckiser Nigeria Limited has signed a contractual agreement that immediately makes the Toll the official hygiene partner of the 3-time African champions, the Super Eagles.
Every year, the Super Eagles fly Nigeria's flag high in continental and international football tournaments. In consideration of the COVID-19 pandemic, health remains an essential element to humanity. This informs the decision of Reckitt Benckiser, makers of Dettol, to enter a partnership with the Nigeria Football Federation to sustain good hygiene amongst millions of Nigerians. Reckitt Benckiser, says Dettol, being the official hygiene partner of the Super Eagles, is to promote healthy habits and protect the athletes as well as the fans' health.
A message through Super Eagles for the rest of the country about hygiene will drive awareness about hygiene, especially the pandemic is yet not over. So we want people to understand that the pandemic is still around. They will continue to require this hygiene protocol. And I think this Super Eagles can really help us in driving this message and normalizing this for Nigeria.
The Nigeria Football Federation reveals that the partnership enforces its objective of becoming self-reliant and also to develop world-leading practices.
Dettol is all about cleanliness, and going by what is going on right now with the pandemic, there's no better time that you need their services, you know. It also add up to our own finances because whatever they are bringing in, will take care of some aspect of our budget, you know, and our dream has always been to run football independently of government. I'm happy this is one of the next, there'll be, in the coming week, we'll be doing another one, we'll be unveiling another sponsor in the upper week. In the next 4 weeks, we are looking at unveiling about 2-3 sponsors. At the end of this year, our dream is to take football to about 80% self-funding.
So the general manager will sign the balls. The Football Federation president will also sign them.
As the dotted lines are signed, Dettol will provide hygienic protection for the Super Eagles during their pre- and post-match activities during the Africa Cup of Nations and the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
And the main news again, a policeman was killed today as gunmen stormed the federal government college in Benin Yaouri, Kebbi State, where an unconfirmed number of students and staff were kidnapped. Police authorities in the state said they have started combing forests to rescue the abductees. That's the news at 10 to 9. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night. Okay.